Mbaise, we are on the special interview segment of Mbaise. On this segment, we are talking about Iri Ji Mbaise National Cultural Festival 2024. And we are speaking to a man who needs no introduction as far as Iri Ji Mbaise hosting and ordinances is concerned. Of course, let me just give you a tidbit. You might know him. He's a spokesman of Ezeji Mbaise. You know, he's a medical doctor, a thoroughbred scholar, an activist in his own right, a politician, a businessman, a man of, different flanks, you could say that. So we're not trying to waste your time. Let's go straight and meet the man we are talking about. As we prepare for Iri Ji Mbaise 2024, we are talking to no other person but Dr. Kachi Nwoga. It's a pleasure, sir.
It's quite a pleasure.
It's always good that Iri Ji Mbaise brings us back. Yes. And we talk about how to better Mbaise through our cultural heritage. Yeah, it's a simple interview, straightforward interview, because Iri Ji Mbaise is just a week from now, if I'm not mistaken. So we want to know, how is the preparation coming? Given that the fact that you are the chairman, right?
Yes.
Of this Central Planning Committee. Yes. Fantastic. So please, can you just run us through the preparation so far?
Okay, thank you very much, Wisdom. Thank you so much. And let me say that
thank you.
For a young man like you to keep projecting Mbaise, I think it's a wonderful thing and something worthy of emulation.
That's the
from my younger generation. Well, okay. To some, yes.
I don't say it, yes.
Yes, but for the millennial generation, yes. It makes us feel happy that it means
anything for
that it will endure. Thank you very much. Iri Ji 2024, exactly a week today, and right here in these fields. So it's not easy. My own committee started very late. We had just about 40 days to go. Well, there was an initial arrangement which failed.
Okay.
Yes, there was an initial arrangement which failed. Even that arrangement started late, I must confess, because if we had actually all started when we should have, the failure of that first arrangement would not have thrown up the challenge that it now threw up. The challenge was thrown up because by the time it failed, I had become too close to the Iri Ji and all that. So we just, in the Ezeji, had to do what they always do with Iri Ji, which is to rescue and make sure that an Iri Ji. Let me tell you, in the Ezeji, when COVID, we had a lockdown in Nigeria. And we did a good job of it. In fact, it was live. It was streamed live. We did a good job of it.
I think I'm aware.
Yes. So there have been cases where we had serious difficulties with the government of the day that wanted to use it for another thing. In fact, on the field, to that day, the field was 50 or more than halfway populated by security operatives. In 2018, it was a peculiar situation. They almost had, for some reason, between Mbaise and the government of the day, a promise that was impossible to keep was made, or we understand was made. Somebody was given a chieftaincy.
Because is it a taboo? Is it unaccepted to give chieftaincy title to anybody on Iri Ji Mbaise Day?
It is not a taboo to give on that day, which an Eze can choose to give.
Okay.
But it is a taboo to distract from the Thanksgiving celebration of Yam in the field, in that same place. So you cannot share that glory at that time. God Almighty, the Lord of the harvest, is the person who are presenting this Yam to in Thanksgiving. Who are you as man to come back and start competing with a celebration, with something we are giving and say, God Almighty? I mean, think of it this way: the heavens open and we're saying, you gave us, and we are saying, honor to you before we even partake of it. And they now bring somebody and say, I'm making you king of okay? King of who? What are you talking about? So that's not done at all. Yes, that's not done at all. You see, before Iri Ji, ekele engineer. You know, it's a thanksgiving. It's a spiritual thing. It's a covenant. It's a covenant enacted by our forefathers that we cannot partake of this yam. Yam is the symbol of agriculture. Even though it's yam we're talking about the harvest. We're talking about agriculture.
Yeah.
But yam is the symbol, is the king of crops.
Yeah.
All right. So we use it now. We use the highest crop to use it as the symbol for which we now do. It's a covenant because God said.
Sorry, I'm also aware that the last time there were other exhibitions of other, other crops.
Every item of agriculture is actually what is on display. All right. But we symbolically use the yam, which is the king of crops and all that. So anything, you see, God says what the people have, he assents to it. Do you understand? Where you gather in his name is there and all that. So this is one of those places we gather in his name, we pronounce in his name. So when a people pronounce upon themselves that God, you will take before we take, it's a covenant. And let me tell you, in fact, we now reenacted that covenant in a stronger way in 1955. The leaders of Mbaise then under J. Onyekwere, Ezeji Onyekwere, and at that time, incidentally, Ezeji because they were the kings of the day. All right, before this warrant, the warrant chief and Ezra, as we have it today, now came up. So they have been traditional till tomorrow. Stuff like that. So Ndegara, on behalf of Mbaise, the big names in Mbaise at the time, and sat with the church because there appeared to be a conflict between the tradition and the Christianity that we in Mbaise had embraced. And some people felt that the yam Iri Ji was still fetish. So these were the issues where the church said, no. The Mbaise said, no, Kwana. We have embraced Christianity with our minds and with our hearts. And our yam has followed us and all that. So, but with a proper interpretation, the church also understood that what we were doing was godly. So what the church now did was to work with us to ensure that we gave that obeisance to the God Almighty that we have embraced. And by the way, Ahajoko is not a fetish. Ahajoko is, see, as a Christian today, what you can call it is Yahweh Ahajoko. You have Yahweh Rapha, you have Yahweh Nisi, you have Yahweh El Shaddai. When you talk of God the creator, God the provider, God. So Yahweh Hajaku is God the Lord of the harvests, the owner of the harvest, the giver. Right? That's Yahweh Hajaku. So what we have simply done is to understand what we are doing and explain it properly now in the understanding. Because so long as it is something good, godly, upright, straightforward, it is for God. That's what it is. So for those who do not understand that, they can continue to think about being fetish. No. And one of the things we do, one of the reasons we strive to do it in the open is for people to see that nothing else has come.
Iri Ji Mbaise 2024. We can't talk about now without the past, which you have been, talking about since. But we want to know what has been, like you've mentioned, at a point, Iri Ji Mbaise was not held in a unified form.
Yes.
People eat it differently.
Yes.
At what point did it transit?
1955.
When Mbaise started eating together.
Yes.
Is that what 1955?
Yes.
When Mbaise started
that was the resolution of Mbaise and the church.
To
became one central. Yes.
And they take it, By that time there wasn't local government.
No, there was no. I'll come to that history. So at that time, like again, remember 1955. This is not like today. There's no media, no all of those things. So what they did was, I believe what influenced the bishop was that 5 years before then, Pope Pius had started the Assumption, Feast of Assumption in the Catholic Church. Mbaise is largely Catholic, right? So I think that the church smartly encouraged us to put it on a day that was also a holy day of obligation. The Assumption in the Catholic Church is like a Sunday, all right? So it means that whatever happens, it actually rhymes with what we do. Now it's Thanksgiving to God, all right? So it's right that you start the day with the worship. So the only thing we have added is that in addition to the Feast of Assumption, which is worldwide Catholic, in Mbaise is an additional Thanksgiving which we do with the yam.
Okay.
In the Ezeji, we go with yams to the church. any Ezeji anyway or no, Kada and Ezeji and Yekele. We all may not go, but we appoint representatives in every Ezeji segment. So we will go and present our yams, and it's a special kind of Thanksgiving. It's not the regular kind of Thanksgiving. For instance, the yam goes in pairs. For instance, right? One half stays back with God, the other half comes back. And that half that comes back becomes part of what is prepared for the day and all that. Because the lambs are blessed and you take back half and the half goes back into. So in this age, you handle that one. Don't worry about the complexity of all that. So this age, you usually handle it. Of course, everybody is encouraged to go ahead and make the same presentations. Like I said, it's a special kind of presentation.
From your explanation so far, it's crystal clear that there's nothing fetish about Iri Ji.
Absolutely nothing.
Since in the morning we go to church to offer the normal thanksgiving to God.
Yeah, and what we do is in keeping with the Christian injunction. If you go, you have the harvest of first fruits. You can read about it in your Bible, where you take the first fruits and make sacrifice of obedience. So it's our own form of that. So it's totally in line with our Christian faith. All right. Of course, people who are not Christians can do whatever they do. It pertains to them. But as a people and as Christians that we are, ours is deeply rooted. In fact, what we are doing is to say that we have found that even that we were doing before we embraced the Christianity the way we know it today was actually a practice of Christianity in our own way. It's just that that was the way we understood it. But now we understand it better. It also has been, aligned fully. All right. Of course, everything is Christian about Thanksgiving, and everything is Christian about putting God first, and everything is Christian about using that King of Crops, that symbol, that major. I mean, the best that you have is what you bring out.
From the benefit of insight and from a professional perspective, one could say Iri Ji has come a long way, transited over time, evolved over time, given the so many activities that have been incorporated.
Yeah, from that time, Ezeji used to go to Ezeji on the Kenguru. That was the center. We used to go there and do that with anybody, usually the neighbors, with some of them there who come. By the way, when there's Ezeji. So we used to go there to a Kenguru and perform all these rituals. I mean, Iba to Oba, and Koba, KG, and Bapeye, and Wafadaji, and Yabia, Waji.
You know the word rituals?
Yes.
Sounds quite.
No. Ritual is an English word.
I know what I'm saying.
Yes, even
something in the minds of the
no. Every
but it's
every
fine.
worship,
Understand.
even
has its own ritual.
Even as you go to church on Sunday,
even the Catholic Church has
you perform your rituals.
Right,
so those are called rituals.
Rituals.
Yes.
All right.
So
it's not that the overtime people.
Because people have used the word wrongly.
Yes,
but they haven't changed the meaning of the word. It's a set of things you do in your defined way in accordance to. Thank you.
It's fine. All right. We get that. So a Kenguru is the center place.
Yes, all will be Ezeji. Okay. That's the heart, and that's where we converge. That's where we meet.
Okay.
And all that. So every Sunday again. So at sometimes, but if we go to a local government and all that, but it was not any particular defined pattern. Okay. Usually in this age, mainly But at some point, but by the way, I hope you understand. This is like a Christmas. All right.
The Mbaise Christmas.
Yes. Much as that central ritual, there is an activity in every Mbaise home.
Yeah.
The only thing is that Mbaise people are enjoined to wait for that then they can continue. So you don't start in the morning and start eating the yam. No. Two are core. Why? That's why when we are the field, we insist on Ewajiaha by 2 o'clock because people are at home. Also, those who couldn't make it are waiting for that 2 o'clock. So when we start, the same day, you are very stubborn. You say you must do this. They tell us, the president is in the air. He's about to drop. Wait for him. He must watch it. We say no. There are people who are more important in this particular ceremony. They are waiting for us because they must partake of this. So we insist that we must go ahead and do that, even if there's nobody in that field. So these are the some of the things that we do
that have been threatened over time.
Yes, that over time.
So all these traditional the ordinances now have been threatened.
Yes, because in a bid to make this bigger, and all that, we have to bring in people to help. All right. Some time ago, some young men came and sought the permission of Ezeji to expand and make the ceremony bigger. Those young men included people like Austin Onwubiko, included people like Lechaliano and all that. And yeah, they Joy Yama, exactly, and all that. Then they came. Ezeji felt that this young man was something good and gave them permission to say, please go ahead. Yeah. So it was their activity that brought it into the kind of limelight that has become today. This stick took that part off and all that. Yes, in other words, thank you very much and all that. Rather than just behind Ezeji and those who could come around. It was a big thing too. A big thing too. I mean, all that. But it was now, this is now
some pomp and
exactly, much more public, and that's how the rotation between local governments now started to increase the participation.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes,
I know Judoba or social festivals. Some of them have become national cultural festivals because of the way they package it. You have football competition, you have musical concerts, you have different things happening not at the same time. Things that happen before the day of the festival, which is the climax of the whole festivity. Now, how have we managed to incorporate all this?
I would say this is a place we have much more to do. And this is also why those who are making a release 7 days to festival are obviously misguided. For instance, the football competition has gone well on the way. In fact, I think the finals of that competition, I think it might be on Sunday. Here it might be at St. Patrick's Away. I will confirm. Where we have not done well is that we are not yet centrally coordinating all those activities. The football is going on their own. We are aware of that.
And you can also partner with different bodies of Mbaise to come up with
because of
the colloquium used to have
good Mbaise People's Congress used to do that colloquium. Yes, and we try to encourage this. But you see, where we have packaged our ceremony well, and it becomes well funded. Centrally managing means being able to provide for it. Because assuming we are providing sponsorship for this football now, I won't be in the central committee telling you I think it will be. I would have told you when I'm going to go there and have the cup presented. That cup is going to come to the field here eventually. So we need to really package so we can organize all these activities that happen. Some dancing competitions have already started. Some agri competitions have already started. What you will see on Thursday coming week, on 15th, is a grand finale for those that will come, and those who the field events that cannot hold here, that have held, the winners will be presented. In addition, you see, when you bring this whole crowd here, one of the things you want to do this year is to give that platform to budding Mbaise artists.
Very important.
Who may not have other opportunities to showcase themselves.
Because over time,
so we want to use the opportunity.
Over time, on this note, some of the youths, when they come, they are more like onlookers.
Yes.
They're more like spectators.
Yes.
Because this thing at a point, the millennials and the coming generation need to at least get along.
Exactly.
Be involved. One way or the other. We try in committees to incorporate youth. But when it comes to the day of the event, which is supposed to be the festivity itself, the funfair itself, and like you said, the biggest thing on that day is that ritual of Iri Ji.
Yes.
Once that happens, Iri Ji is complete.
Yes.
Then we can go into
the essential has been done.
So you're saying this year
we can use the opportunity of that people to put all kinds of shows, all kinds of events.
I think that works.
And all of those things add to the glamour.
I think that works because why would you want to rate a podium of 1.something million and you just Iri Ji we could maximize for other things.
You see, Wisdom, thank you. You're thinking the way an Mbaise man should think. You are using your own talent now and your area of profession to see how you can bring value to what is already being done. This is what we expect the organs in Mbaise to do.
And we have so many.
And we have so many.
We are talking about people are talking. We have a lot of celebrities.
And when you are talking about
Mbaise celebrities, because they are going to watch this video.
Good. When you are talking about marketing,
Rita Dominic,
yes,
Genevieve Vunaj,
yes,
Oke Bakassi,
yes,
Vito Swago. I can mention Mike
we probably dominate
that
industry.
We need to bring these guys
in. At what point? Let me tell you, there was a particular time I found out that of the masters of ceremony in Imo State,
Harry B, Mbaise,
of the acclaimed masters of ceremony in Imo State, about 80% of them were from Mbaise. And there was nothing that ever brought them together. This is the biggest show in Mbaise.
I'm telling you, it's the
This
biggest
is
show
the
in
biggest show in
Mbaise.
Imo State.
Yes.
This is the biggest show Southeast.
And we should maximize
And we have
potential.
not maximized it.
Even the tourism potential.
But the first thing though was to sanitize it.
Okay.
I think I must praise Ezeji for holding on and preserving. Let me tell you, without the fight by Ezeji, I'm sorry to use the word fight, we would have lost this ceremony by now.
Okay.
We would have completely lost it.
So
it has been, it has taken everything.
The energy
in fact, the blackmail is too much.
The
everything,
energy
preservation and holding. That, thank you very much. So now that we believe we have more allies now in this ceremony, we can now go to the celebration and full fulfillment. But let no other Mbaise think that they can come and take and pass decrees on Iri Ji. You cannot do that. You can create your own event and pass decrees on it, not Iri Ji. You can't do that. So that is very wrong, and I do believe that the mistake they have made, they will not make it again.
So Kachi Nwoga, obviously it's not a mistake that Ezeji made you the spokesman for Ezeji. Couldn't have been any way better. Please, I want to appeal to Ezeji Mbaise, Mbaise stakeholders, illustrations and daughters of Mbaise. Iri Ji Mbaise is very precious to Mbaise as something that brings us together. There's a lot of potential we can tap in, and tourism potentials, commerce. There's so many things that can be done to make Mbaise a better place using Iri Ji Mbaise Festival. And that's why coming from Mbaise, we feel that it's part of our own responsibility not to sit back or shy away from, being involved in whatever that can resolve crisis, that can project the best of Mbaise, especially when it comes to Iri Ji Mbaise. On that note, that is why we are speaking to Dr. Kachi Nwoga today. And of course, you've heard from him. Of course, I know that you have been enlightened, you have been informed, except you choose not to. So, Doc, rounding up, we have been here. Nothing good comes easy. It's been a struggle, it's been a fight. We're getting there. And I hope with this interview, Mbaise, both elderly, the young, will understand that this is what Iri Ji Mbaise is all about. You have said so many things, and I'm glad that you said all these things, and I'm glad that we interviewed you, because a lot of people will learn from there. Now, in rounding up, what would you say is the way forward?
Okay, thank you. The way forward is called consolidation. There are things we have gained in this ceremony, and it's time to consolidate. For instance, it's now traditional that the chief executive of the state will be here.
Started really?
Yes, it's now because it has happened 3 years in a row.
I also want to say this too, because I think apart from the fact that we always start late, we do not rely most on corporate sponsors.
Yes, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. So now that tells you and tells Imo State at least where to the level that the ceremony is. All right. But we now need to go beyond and out of that, even beyond that league, by actualizing the status of the National Cultural Festival that Mbaise was elevated to some years ago by the then Minister of Culture, Edem Duke, who came to these grounds in Mbaise and made that pronouncement, elevating it. A desk officer was created in the Federal Ministry of Culture for it. This year, we have made contact with the ministry. This year, we have, and that was the effort of Ezeji, and we're grateful to that. So this year, we have made contact and they have acknowledged our contact. The National Council for Arts and Culture, the Director General has acknowledged our contact. Same as the Director General of Tourism, of National Tourism Board. The Director General of National Council for Arts and Culture, Obi Asika, he has also acknowledged. So we have tried to get that. We have reached out to our sons in the National Assembly. Specifically, I'm grateful to Emeka Chinedu, who said, please come. He even arranged for us to see the Deputy Speaker. Unfortunately, this protest upset flights and everything, so that has affected. So, but it's something that we will carry on with. So I said consolidation. Consolidation. One of the things you observed is that we seem to just die off immediately, Iri Ji, and then wake up some days to Iri Ji next year. So that will not happen again.
That is where the problem is.
The president of Ezeji Mbaise has mandated this committee not to be an ad hoc, but to stay as a standing committee. So you can add, you can even make changes, but the committee stands. So it's no longer about waiting. They have an all year round job to do. You are in the industry and you understand that if people don't put you in their budget, they're going to have a hard fight to get their sponsorship. And these budgets, from this month, they have started preparing those budgets. So if the committee is not in place, even after Iri Ji by this month and September, it will be almost impossible to get into any corporate budget. So it means that the committee can't stop. So immediately after this Iri Ji, they work now. In fact, there's a committee, by the way, which you're a member of. I told you you're secretary of that committee and all that. And it hasn't taken off. The reason it hasn't taken off is because the people they're working with couldn't start to that late. That is the corporate committee, all right? The commercial committee. So that committee has some of these people you have mentioned and all that. So your work will take off in earnest as soon as from that 15th, people can take off and be able to sell Iri Ji as a brand. Because once we get Iri Ji as a brand, every other thing has been solved. Of course, without losing the ritual and the essence of Iri Ji.
So we are saying now the way forward, incorporating our celebrities.
Yes.
Mbaise sons and daughters,
yes.
prominent Mbaise
yes.
across every walk
of
life.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, we've come
and having a dedicated team to run it, not ad hoc every 2 days.
Starting early.
Exactly.
Seeking sponsorship,
of course.
So that we don't get stuck. We've come to this end of this interview because I feel as a and a word is enough for the wise. You said everything. You don't need to say more. And the only thing we'll say that people should just take away what they know, what they don't know. What they think you know, okay, maybe it has been broader in terms of explanation. And what you don't know, you've learned it today. So I will want to appeal to, before you give your final parting shot, we want to use this opportunity from Mbaise to appeal to Mbaise stakeholders, illustrious sons and daughters of Mbaise. Please, we have a week to go. Support Iri Ji Mbaise Festival. This is all we have so far. Support it in any way you can, financially, otherwise. Support Iri Ji Mbaise Festival. As Mbaise, we shouldn't be looking for money to plan Iri Ji Mbaise. It's not supposed to be. So I thank you guys for watching. Keep following Mbaise. Keep subscribing to our YouTube channel. Keep liking. Keep making your comment. It is because of you that we are doing all this. Because of you, we are getting encouraged. Thank you very much. So, Dr. Kachi, parting shot, what would you tell Mbaise as you?
Mbaise, August 15, Ukunu, Biko, Bianga, Biakwanoge, Nahiazu Council Field. Ebo Oleno, Bara Biawa, come here, come one, come all. Bring your friends, bring your in-laws, bring your neighbors, bring your well-wishers. Come and let us joyfully celebrate our New Year. Yes. And look at the weather is so good. I believe it will be so on the 15th of August.
We pray.
Please.
We have a clement.
Yes. Beautiful. Come and make. And from here, when you take the blessings from here, you will also go home and continue your celebration. Those who will remain here for the concert will also remain here.
We need our people to know that.
Wisdom, make that concert happen.
Yes. We are having, but then we use the opportunity to say it.
Yes.
After the YG,
yes,
it means that Ezeji have finished their job.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
So we have a
definitely.
We have the license to air.
Please,
with caution.
No,
so
you can air with caution.
Air with caution. Yeah. So we're saying that for the first time, instead of just dispersing after the EYG, when the governor must have finished and he's leaving, most times when the governor leaves, it looks as if the event is over.
Yes, and because there's a gap, there's a vacuum which this concert will fill now. Because there are people who may not have all the preparation in their homes.
Yes.
All right. So stay here now and enjoy the one here.
Some have even eaten something else.
Exactly.
Aside the G. So they might even come here and buy and get from people who have done it for commercial purpose.
Yes, exactly. There'll be by the way, there have been Mbaise foods on sale here. You will see akede. Actually, the in addition to the normal rice and
is it the Isheku or what?
Useku,
yes.
Don't worry.
That's African cuisine, right?
Useku is an African buffet.
Okay.
Buffet of African cuisines.
Yeah.
All right, like none other. But I can tell you that God keeping us alive, 2025, you will see Useku version 2. And
We want the
You
best.
can't miss it.
We want the best.
In fact,
We'll
let me
keep
tell you,
going.
after Useku version 2, people want Iri Ji to happen every day.
So, like he has said, this year we are bringing in.
So we have the Mbaise kitchen that will be
Okay.
on this year.
Okay.
All right. But you know, Useku is Useku.
So we're saying that after Iwaji, please don't leave. Don't go anywhere. The fun fair begins.
Yes.
Starts. We're going to have Mbaise mega concert on that same day on the field. So don't go home. I make sure everything on that field. From today henceforth, Iri Ji Mbaise would not wither. Iri Ji Mbaise would always grow in strength. We won't have division. We won't have disunity. We won't have crisis. Mbaise, God bless you. Wamano Nomma.
Look at